Oh, the lights, the sound, wow, hello. Hello everybody, welcome, and thank you very much for being here. It's really good to see you here, guys. It's really good to be here. I've never spoken in the theatre before, and it's a really cool feeling, even though I can't see much because the lights are right in my face. So, yeah, I apologize. So, I'll try to be as entertaining as I can because, well, it's Educating Creatively conference, so I'll try not to bore you. And today, I'm here to talk about creativity, respectively. So first I'd like to say that I'm definitely not going to educate anybody on anything. I'm not here to teach you how to live your lives or what to do. I'm merely here to share a few things about creativity and some very useful information for people who would like to reignite that creative spark inside them, but they're not quite sure how to start and what to begin with because, well, something is clearly missing. They want a bit more in their life. They maybe want to add something, change something. Maybe they just want to have a bit more fun. I mean, come on, who doesn't want to have more fun? Usually we all do, right? So, yeah, but it's not as easy as it is. You see, we always talk about education and educating our kids and students in a creative way, and we encourage them to be more creative and explore. But what happens later is a different story. When we go into our adult life, the situation changes. So, yeah, we want to have that fulfilling and exciting life full of different things, and we often wish that we could probably paint like that or sculpt like that and make a pot like that, but we can't. Or we believe that we can't. That's usually the case. And we often get jealous of people who can and maybe even made a successful career out of something that they truly enjoy doing. So, yeah, I'd like to say a few words about me so you know why I'm here and what actually made me come and talk to you about all that. My name is Anastasia, and I run Chester Art Centre on Northgate Street, just round the corner from here. It's a lovely little gallery. We change exhibitions all the time. We exhibit self-fine art. We offer a range of creative services, like your Giclée printing for fine art prints and framing, and run art classes, artsy parties, all that stuff. Also, I am a photographer and I'm a jewellery designer. But before I got my gallery and before I got back into doing photography seriously, I used to be what they call a blocked creative. So I wanted to do things, but I couldn't because when I lived in Moscow, I used to be a teacher for a long time, and I did art on the side as a hobby, and sometimes even paid, and it was great. But then life happened, and I thought that I needed to become a serious and responsible adult and actually focus on other things and do serious things, like business. And that's what I did for a number of years. And deep down, I wasn't particularly happy. Most people around me wouldn't have thought so. It all looked great. But I was really, really miserable because I lost the ability to be able to be creative. Because that's what happens with society. We get drip-fed this information, like, you know, you have to focus on your career, you have to focus on your education, your family, and all that is very, very important. Don't take me wrong. But I think that creativity is also a natural flow of life, and that enhances all of our life experiences. I think that it shouldn't be neglected. And why is it that, you know, we want to take a drama class in the evening after work for some reason, but the society goes, well, what are you, drama class? Why? Shouldn't you be doing something else? I think it's wrong, actually. So, yeah, I wasn't very happy, and what happened eventually, I went completely nuts. I thought, right, that's it, I've had enough, and I changed my life entirely, completely. And I'm not saying that this is the way to do it. I'm not encouraging you to do exactly that. I mean, it worked out great for me. I am where I've always wanted to be, really, now. But it's not always the way. I actually want to help people not to get to that stage where they go, right, that's it, it's either all or nothing. Or, what's worse, they sometimes just think, well, I'm not going to bother at all. And, well, yeah, everybody else around me wins. you know, friends, colleagues, our commitments, and we just think, well, yeah, we're just not going to bother. Because, well, we're kids, we're all creative. We are encouraged to do all those things, make things or draw. We're encouraged to sing. And what happens later on? Well, usually what happens, we get to that normal life and we've got our routines, we've got our schedules, we've got people around us who think that that's the way it should be. And yeah, we start thinking, well, why should I even bother? And that's the worst. That is the worst. I call it the why should I bother attitude, because the world around us usually is shaped the way that, well, it's not that appreciated, and certain things are even considered a bit weird. I mean, what? You want to do welding? Why would you want to try that? And somebody might genuinely want to try it, but we get that perception that it is wrong for some reason. So we start thinking, well, no, there's no point. And I used to be there. I used to think, I'm no good anyway, there's no money in it. And I felt guilty if I wanted to dedicate some of my time and energy and sometimes money to something creative. I thought, well, no, I've got more important things to do. I need to focus on that. And I worked like a maniac. That's all I did. But it wasn't really great. So we start doubting, we start thinking, why should I bother? Everybody around me, well, they don't get it really. And yeah, it kind of kills that creative spark within us. But I'd like to point out that creativity is very, very important, yet again. And yeah, why is creativity important to all of us? Ideas, please. Anybody? Why? Well-being, yeah, brilliant. Anybody else? Any other ideas? No? Well, I say that creativity is just fun. And it also brings us that wonderful feeling of satisfaction, that accomplishment, like, wow, I've created something that hasn't existed before. It's a wonderful, wonderful feeling. I mean, I do photography and I make jewelry, and sometimes they even sell, and it's just, wow, people are actually prepared to give me money for something I've created. That's amazing. That's incredible. And even if they don't, even if it's just somebody who goes, oh, I really, really like that. How do you do that? It's nice. It's just a nice, nice feeling of being able to freely express your ideas, your thoughts, your concerns, your feelings through different mediums, whatever it is you're doing. For some people it's singing, for some people it's painting, for me it's photography, jewelry. Now I'm also recording a video course on creativity, and I'm in the process of writing a book about it all, because I was so miserable and it actually took, well, a lot of strength to get out of the situation where I was. I started doing a lot of research on the subject and think, well, maybe there are ways out. And there are a lot of ways out. And I started doing the research, and oh my God, when you start digging deep, it is scary. It's actually frightening. You know, you go into all the psychology, all the behavioral patterns, and all that stuff. My gosh, it's fascinating, but it's quite difficult. So I thought, okay, well, look, plenty of different books on, you know, creative thinking and so on and so forth. I thought, well, I want to do something a bit more accessible to people who find themselves in the situation where they wish they could, but they're not doing it. And actually, yeah, my video course is it's available on my website, anastaziatilson.com. Today I was going to give you a brief of what there is, but then I thought, last night actually I was in bed, and I thought, well, no. If you're interested, you can find it all online. It's absolutely free, so I'm not going to rob you of that information. But today I'd like to talk to you about something which is probably the culprit of all of the other excuses and things that we find, you know, like we've got no time, no, we've got no money, and this and that. That's why we can't be creative. But in theory and in practice, it all comes down to lack of confidence and fear, because, again, the society and, you know, our parents, our teachers, due to the nature of this conference, I think that you guys will agree with me on that. It's not always the case, but it is often the case, because we've got certain rules and we've got certain things that are approved and other things for some reason aren't. And everybody's got a very clear idea of what our lives should be like, right? And for some reason, I don't know why, everybody's always got a piece of advice they're happy to give you. Oh no, you shouldn't be doing that, you should be doing this. Well, should not you be concentrating on your exams? Why are you doing this? Why are you sitting there in the corner? Why are you drawing? You need to go and learn, or something like that. And that is just drip-fed to us a lot of the time. I'm not saying it's always the case. I was very fortunate. I was born in a very creative, artistic family, so most of my family members are slightly mad, and somebody's an artist, and we've got a lot of musicians. Great-grandma was an opera singer, so when Grandad wanted to just sit in the corner and carve tiny wooden people for his ships that he's carved out of wood himself as well. Nobody thought it was weird. It was a perfectly normal Grandad sitting there carving them little humans, and that was fine. But in other families, that would be considered, well, a little bit different. So we come down to our main, oops, paper falling, our main problem, which is lack of confidence. And lack of confidence and fear, they go hand in hand. They actually feed one another. So, yeah, I'm going to skip through most. Oh, that's not working for some reason. Eek. Never mind. Oh, yeah, that's me, Anastasia. Why should I even bother? I was going to talk to you about that. Why is it? It's gone the wrong way. Never mind, forget about it. Yeah. Lack of confidence and fear that go hand in hand. Any suggestions, any ideas? Anybody in a similar situation where you'd like to start doing something, but you think, well, I'll start after Christmas, or when kids go back to school, or once I've finished with the deadline? Anybody experiencing anything like that? No? Good for you guys, really good for you. As you see, I did a little talk earlier this year on the same topic, and it was quite a small group of people. And a lady came in, and she said, well, actually, yeah, I was going to do one of your jewelry classes. And I remember she inquired on Facebook a couple of times. First time she asked, you know, what the program was, what we were going to make. The second time she asked me if that was okay to bring her daughter, and I said, fine, fantastic. She never came, but she came to the little talk about creativity and all that jazz. And she said, well, yeah, I see, I wanted to do that. But then my husband asked me, well, why do you want to spend the whole Saturday doing that? Do you want some jewelry? Let's go and buy you some. So this is what happens. She probably was thinking about it for a long time. She wanted to, and then with a comment like that, well, you're definitely not going to bother, are you? And unfortunately, she didn't come. She didn't bring her daughter, who probably would have enjoyed it. And yeah, even after I did that talk, it was quite an informal chat, and we all sat down in a circle and shared our problems and stories. And I haven't seen her since. So obviously, there's something there that is coming from people around us. So in some cases, it's family, spouses, partners, lack of time, which we think is a problem. I actually dedicate quite a lot of my time to explaining why lack of time is not always as much of an issue as we make it to be. So, yeah. Any ideas? Anybody? Because it's quite an informal one. There's not that many of us. I'd like to speak to you guys more than just standing here. We don't have that much time, and there's so much to discuss. So, yes? Brilliant! What's stopping you? Right, okay. Right, okay. Right. You do have to commit time. You have to find the time. It's possible because we do a lot of things that eat up a lot of our time. And yes, brilliant. Well, I think everybody should work on our inner creativity because it's always there. So the main question, why we should actually do it? Well, I always encourage people to do it just for themselves. Just do it for you. Be a little bit more selfish. So what I say, and I started talking about it, like everybody's got an idea of what we should do. But it's our lives. I mean, come on, we live once. Why should we live our lives in accordance with what other people think our lives should be like? I mean, live and let live. As long as nobody gets hurt, well, why not? So with musical instruments, you'll probably have to soundproof your garage or something and hide away. But it's doable. It is doable. Obviously, yeah, there's noise, but come to our gallery, practice there. If it's not too late, there you go, there's a solution. Saxophone, oh brilliant, I love saxophone. Fantastic, you should definitely come to our gallery and play some saxophone. Can you do one of our previews? We'll provide free wine as well. Okay. So anybody else experiencing any issues with anything they would like to do but they're not doing for some reason? No? Yeah. You have to justify it. You have to justify it to yourself, first of all. And then you have to justify it to everybody else around you. Well, once again, if you're doing it for yourself, you have to feel a little bit more selfish. You have to be a little bit more brave to just say, well, yes, actually, it's important for me. And I'm going to spend that £10 and I'm going to dedicate that hour of my time. It's not even that much, because both with time and money, obviously depending on what you would like to do, but there is so much that you can do very cheap or even free of charge. Things like your writing doesn't cost you anything, drawing costs you a set of pencils, playing musical instruments might cost you a good relationship with your neighbors, things like that. But there's a lot that can be done with no budget or very little budget, because we've got the internet, we've got the flea markets, we can always pick up things, Christmas sale, we can always ask people for specific Christmas or birthday presents. And also, what I have found personally, if I say, right, well, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, for some reason, somehow, a lot of people appear around me who want to give me stuff. Because somebody will have a set of tools that they're not using and never tried. Somebody will have some materials. I got loads and loads of silver wire once, free of charge. It was about 1 kilo of it, just because some girl wanted to do it and then never started. So it's like, well, here you go, Anastasia, I've got 1 kilo of silver wire for you. It cost quite a bit. And she just gave it away because she didn't need it. So as soon as you start, things around you start changing as well. And little miracles happen, and a lot of the time help is provided. So if you find, in terms of prices, I run the gallery. I know exactly how much these things cost. I know how much all your paints and tools and studio hire and framing and all that jazz. I know exactly how much it costs. It's not cheap, but you don't always need all of it, because that's our problem. Okay. When I started making jewelry, I sat down and I thought, oh, I want these tools and those. And I didn't even have a clue what I was going to do with them. But I wanted them because I wanted to do jewelry. So I thought, oh, I'm going to need them. Well, if you learn first and figure out exactly what you need, it actually brings the costs down significantly straight away. In terms of time, Time is a very big issue, and whether it's time to visit our grandma or to find an hour for our pottery or glass fusing or drawing or whatever it is we're doing, that is a big thing. I always point out that social media, for example, that eats up hours and hours and hours of our free time. And I counted it. It's scary, guys. It's terrifying. Because if we spend an hour every day on Facebook, for example, that is 365 hours a year. And when you divide it all, it turns out that it's actually slightly over 2 weeks of your lifetime. It's frightening. And you think, well, I went on vacation. I went to Maldives. I spent 2 weeks there. It's wonderful. You think, oh, yeah, I've had a wonderful holiday, dream holiday. But if you say, well, I spent 2 weeks this year on Facebook, that's a very different story. So needless to say, if it's 2 hours every day, well, it's a month of your lifetime spent on social media. So yeah, it's all important. We live in the 21st century and social media is important. But what I found for myself, I don't use it unless I am waiting in queues or if I have to make a call to the call center where you just sit there and you're waiting till all them tunes going ding, 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 ding. And yeah, well, what can you do? Well, while you're waiting on the phone, you can scroll through your news feed. And usually I say, well, okay, I'll have 15 minutes in the morning. So yeah, I'm having my cup of tea before I'm ready to go to work. I'm sitting there. I won't miss my friends' birthdays. I'll see what's going on. I'll even like a few posts so people don't feel like I've abandoned them. But at least I'm not drowning in it. Because, I mean, guys, let's face it, we all know how it happens. We log in, then we see, oh, it's somebody's birthday, so we'll write that post for their birthday, and then we just get stuck in the news feed with all that stuff that's shared, you know, all the photos, all the videos, all the memes, and all the stuff that we forget about. Like, if anybody asks me a week from now, what did I see this morning in my news feed, I won't have a clue. I won't remember. So that's one of the very time-consuming activities that most of us suffer from. Another one is television, and please don't kill me. But a lot of people often watch things that they don't even care about that much. It's because it's a habit. You started watching them series and you just go along, you just continue because you started, so you need to know how it ends, right? And there's a lot of stuff that we watch just because we came home and there you go, boom, TV on, cup of tea, and there you go. That's the evening gone. So maybe, I'm not saying it's always the case, but if we prioritize things that we want to do over the things that we do out of habit, it's quite a difficult change, actually, because you can say, oh, yeah, I'm going to do it, but then getting around to doing it, that takes a lot of effort. But once you've done it, you'll feel great, because you'll feel the difference. Well, wow, now I'm doing this, and I'm really enjoying it, so I'm going to find more time to do that something that I truly enjoy. It gives you an incentive. You can taste the difference now, and that's how it works. So, yeah, in terms of time, how much time do we need? We don't even need that much of it. Half an hour every day, that will already make a huge, huge difference. So, there you go. Give it a go. Any other problems? Any other blockages? Any other stuff that is hindering anybody? Nothing is hindering it. Yeah? Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. Yeah, I totally get you because, well, once you've had a long, difficult day and you have to force yourself, oh, no, now I've got to do that. I had a lot of that when I had to work on commissions for jewellery, and I was in the process of renovating my house. So by the end of the day, you don't feel like making any jewelry. You're just exhausted. You want to just sit and do nothing and stare at the ceiling. I know. That's why your environment is important. And yes, finding that right time to do it. I say if that works for you, try it like you're doing on Saturdays. If you try it before you start your day, because that wakes you up, because you're happy, you're excited, you're doing something that you're enjoying. It's a very good boost for the day ahead, and then you're not facing that problem where you're totally exhausted, you just cannot be bothered, and just, that's it. So yeah, that's the thing. With the environment as well, it's important to have a place, like your special secret place, where you feel comfortable, where you can do things, because like I mentioned earlier, when I was renovating the house and I had to work on jewelry designs, and oh my God, there's paint everywhere, I had no ceiling in the bedroom, it was just a disaster. There's no inspiration to create anything because you just don't like the place where you are, and it's very difficult to put yourself in that mindset where like, yes, right, now I'm going to get creative, now I'm actually going to create a masterpiece. So environment is very, very important. If you can find a nice place, I don't know, even a corner of your bedroom or somewhere where you are not going to be disturbed, especially at least for half an hour, that would be absolutely fantastic. That would be brilliant, and that would help definitely. Any other problems? No problems. Everybody's creative. Nobody's scared of anything. Everybody is all invigorated and happy. Yeah? Yep. Oh God, yes, I know that feeling very well. I know that feeling very well. Because while I was all serious and responsible adult and doing business and just neglecting my creativity completely, just shutting it down, sometimes I'd have bursts and explosions, and I'd go, right, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll do it. And that's how I ended up doing my jewelry course out of the blue. Right, and I spent a fortune on it. I really enjoyed it, but oh my God, I felt so guilty afterwards. I could have spent that money and that time on, promoting my business and doing all that stuff that's actually going to take me somewhere. Take me where? I did my jewelry course all them years ago. Well, I'm still doing it. I've changed quite a number of businesses since. So, yeah, that's something coming back to why you're doing it. If you're doing it for yourself, which I think should always be the case, because if we're doing it for ourselves, well, yes, we can say it's a little bit selfish, and we start feeling guilty that we've allowed ourselves to do something nice for us. Well, why? Why? If somebody gives us a really nice present for Christmas, or, I don't know, for our birthday, or buys us a nice trip to the Lake District for the weekend, we love them people, and we think they're fantastic. Oh my God, look at what they've done for us. But why can't we allow to do the same stuff for ourselves? Because once again, we're living our lives, and we're not going to get a second chance. I don't know if you guys believe in reincarnation. I don't think it's applicable either way, because even if we do reincarnate, we're not going to remember anything that's happening now, are we? So, yeah, there you go. While we're here, we can do things. I always say that I'm terrified of finding myself on the deathbed and wishing, oh my God, I could have tried that, I could have gone there, I could have done that, but now I definitely can't because, well, guess what, I'm on the deathbed. That's it, game over. So I'm trying to do as much as I can right now while I still can, because you won't get a second chance. And that's exactly my point. So yeah, when we've got all the problems with lack of confidence, we think, oh, we're not going to be good. We think, oh, we don't have time. We think, oh, we can't afford to do things, or somebody will think that we've gone nuts, which is actually one of the main reasons we think, oh, well, what are they going to think about me? Hey, you say, well, I'm going to do a drama class. What? A drama class? You? At your age? Hey, guys, have you heard Johnny's going to go to Hollywood? Well, that's it. That will kill any inspiration immediately. And you've already dealt with all of your own insecurities, your guilt, and that's it. It just shuts it down. So sometimes, if you're trying to be a little bit more selfish, it's also good not to share all of your ideas with the whole world straight away. I mean, find your allies, find people who will definitely support you, share it with them. But if you start going out and telling everybody that you're going to do something, I don't know, whatever it is, pottery, writing poetry is a tricky one because for some reason, well, people who are not in any creative professions, they often don't get poetry, in my experience. And my mum found a lot of that when she actually wrote a book, and she was so proud of it, and she was giving copies to all of her friends. And people were like, what? You're a poet now? Well, yes, I've always been, and yes, now I've finally done it. And it was like, oh, yeah, good. But it was like, well, she clearly has got nothing better to do. Well, no, she didn't. And that's amazing what she has done. It's a book of brilliant poetry. I'm not a big fan of poetry, but I appreciate it. And I'm very proud that my mum's done it. And yeah, a round of applause. So yeah, if you don't share it with everybody straight away, it will actually help you to stick to your original plan, and it will help you be a tiny bit more selfish and concentrate on yourself, because you won't get that unexpected nagging from now on. So there you go. Any other questions? Any other ideas? Anything you want to talk about? No? Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it is painful, and guess what? Whether or not you get to the stage where you can paint very well or not, that doesn't matter. If you enjoy the process, in my opinion, that's all that matters. You are having fun. You are enjoying the process. And even if you're painting something and you don't like it, you think it's bad, well, it doesn't matter. Do you enjoy the process while you're painting? Fantastic. If you don't enjoy the process, then different story, try something else. But that's the key. It's about the process, because if we try and work on the results straight away, that's where a lot of our other problems come from. We expect ourselves to be brilliant straight away. We know it doesn't happen, but for some reason we think, oh, right, okay, yeah, I started painting 2 weeks ago. I'm going to paint like, I don't know, Rembrandt. Well, no, most probably not, and it's not always the reason why, you should start in the first place. It depends on what you're going to do with your creations. I mean, if the idea is to get great and make a career out of it, yes, maybe it's worth sticking to something that you can do very well. But if you're having fun, just have fun for the sake of it. Any other ideas? No? We've got 5 minutes. Right, brilliant. Yeah, I scrapped my whole presentation here. That was all exprompt, because I think that works much better. Anyway, yesterday I was flicking through The Stranger's Secret, which is one of my favorite books, and you may like it, you may not like it, you may know about it. It doesn't matter. There was a fantastic bit which I would really like to read to you, and I think that describes our society very, very well. And he talks about the problem with most people is that they're playing the world's most unrewarding game, and the name of the game is Follow the Follower. So talking about what shapes our reality and our lives and who does that. So there's a story about a small town in which there was a jewelry store. And like all jewelry stores, or most jewelry stores at least, there was a big clock in the front window. And every morning for years, the jeweler had noticed a working man stop, adjust his pocket watch to the same time as the clock in the window. He's been doing this for many years. And one morning, while the jeweler was out in the front sweeping the sidewalk, he asked that man, well, why do you adjust your watch to my big clock every morning? I noticed you've been doing it for years. And the man said, well, I'm the foreman down at the big plant. I want to make sure my watch is correct because I blow the quitting whistle every night at 5 o'clock. And the jeweler looked at him rather strangely for a moment, and then he said, well, that's funny. I've been setting that big clock in the window by that quitting whistle all those years. I find it hilarious. I think, God, yeah, this is what happens. Somebody's got an idea of what people should do, and they do it in accordance with that, but they might not even believe it. It was somebody else who's put all that into their head, and they think, well, that's the right thing to do. So, in my opinion, the right thing to do is to do things that you want to do. I know it's not always possible. Sometimes we all have to do things we don't want to do, and even in the art business, there's lots and lots of stuff which I personally don't like doing, all your marketing, all your emails, and this and that, all the organization, updating the website. I hate it all, but it needs to be done. But the rest of it is very rewarding, and it is great fun. So there's always a compromise. And what we find in a lot of jobs where people probably earn quite good money and they're relatively happy, there's still something that is not quite there. So I encourage people to find that something that's not quite there elsewhere, and that's where our creativity comes in, I think. So yeah, if we want to dance, well, why shouldn't we? Why do we think that, oh no, we can't because we've got, I don't know, Sunday lunch with in-laws, or we got to go and see our friends because they're bored without us and things like that. Sometimes I think we should be able to allow ourselves just to do things for ourselves. So, do you guys agree? Yay, brilliant. So, yeah, I think, well, since I've scrapped my whole presentation, I mean, when I started it was 15 pages, and I thought, oh God, how am I going to talk about all that? And I didn't, so more in-depth information, like I said, anastasiatilston.com, I've got a free video course, which actually talks about your lack of time, all the problems that are the most apparent. There's loads, the book is still in progress, and that's quite a tricky one because I encounter so many different people all the time. I keep adding stuff to it, and yeah, it's fun, and hopefully it will be finished soon because I want to get the information out there. There's one fantastic resource which I would like to recommend, which is called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. That is a wonderful book. It's quite a lot of work, but I've done that course twice myself, and God almighty, well, on week 8 of the course I got the gallery. The second time I did it, on week 12, I actually launched my video course, so I was very proud. I thought, yay, it's done it. And if you do get it, it will be of huge benefit. If you don't get it, there are a couple of things which I think are absolutely fantastic, which she talks about in that book. And the first one is writing your morning pages. So the idea is that every morning when you wake up, you start writing whatever the heck you want to write about. But you've got to do 3 pages of it. And if you don't want to write about anything, you basically write, I don't want to write about anything, I don't know what to say, I'm bored, or this is annoying. Doesn't matter, for 3 pages of that. You don't read it, you don't come back to it, but it kind of opens up your mind, it frees it from a lot of junk and a lot of clutter that just stays in the back of our mind on a daily basis. So that is one thing. And the other thing, which I personally absolutely love, is doing your artist dates. So what is an artist date? It's when you spend an hour or 2 hours, or if you can, even the whole day, and you do something which you personally want to do. It doesn't have to be dedicated to art specifically. If you want to just sit on your own and watch an old film, you can, but you have to do it for yourself. And that's the idea. Sometimes you can go to a gallery, sometimes you can take a friend with you, but you do something for you. And if it is something creative, because you will start doing something creative, you'll end up doing an art class or something, or going salsa dancing, and that will be a fantastic artist day. If you do it weekly, you will get into the habit of actually, allowing yourself to be a bit more creative, a bit more free, and you'll start liking it and you'll want to do more of it. So there we go. Hope you found at least some of it of some use and benefits, and thank you so much for being here. It's been great. Cheers. Oops, I'm dropping things here.